This is a motion regarding parenting time and show cause regarding alleged violations of parenting time orders. The plaintiff appears in the courtroom, Ms. Kruger. Mr. Spencer appears via the Zoom application. Would you both please raise your right hands?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Anything from the front of the court first on this? Mr. Holcomb.
Your Honor, in addition to Mr. Spencer's motion, the front of the court had also filed a notice of hearing regarding an alleged violation of the order from January 2nd, 2025. Specifically, the provision that states there shall be no parenting time at 3257 camper trailer until there was a motion to the court with witness testimony to have that modified, as well as in that same order that if there is an alleged violation that there'd be an ex parte order suspending Mr. Spencer's parenting time. I do believe that there was a hearing previously, on January 24th, based off of allegations or a complaint that order was being violated, and that was filed by Ms. Kruger. And at that hearing, the court found insufficient evidence to demonstrate a clear violation, and it was dismissed. The front of the court office had received complaints from Ms. Kruger stating that this has been a violated order, that parenting time has been happening at that residence. She did email our office with the complaint stating that there was an incident report with the Michigan State Police. On March 5th, we received another complaint that it was continuously being violated, as well as receiving a copy of said police report from the Michigan State Police, which was attached to the notice of hearing that does state that there was parenting time at the home, but also that home was allegedly adequate. So based off of that report, Your Honor, the front of the court had set this for a notice of hearing for the alleged violation to hear from the parties given the information that was provided.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, let's begin with the show cause first. Ms. Kruger, why do you believe that Mr. Spencer violated this order? What evidence do you have?
He verbally admitted to me that he was there, for one. Two, I called the police to document it, so I have the documentation. And I mean, I didn't report the last one, but I mean, I dropped him off. I know that I see it with my eyes, and I made sure I called the police now because he calls me to tell me, like, I'm taking him here. The state police said, if you read the report, his account of it, we had.
Do you have the trooper here though?
No, because when I called, it's not my motion. I can't subpoena anybody, I was told.
Who told you that?
The friend of the court secretary. I don't know her name, but this is Anthony Spencer's motion. I can't have it adjourned. I can't wait to have it heard. You guys can't give legal advice. There's nothing I can do. I come into court today, I was told, and I can address it with you today. I believe it's maybe Mary that I talked to. If there's it wasn't Ms. Schultz, it wasn't Mr. Holdwick, it was one of the secretaries.
There was information presented to me by a friend of the court staff, but that was limited to whether or not the matter could be adjourned. And the instruction that I had given to staff was that it was Mr. Spencer's motion, either he had to agree or that request had to be made to the court today.
Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay, and then that is the protocol.
Yes.
Whatever is the other party's motion, the court, if the other party says, hey, I need this adjourned, the court can't adjourn it unless the other party agrees.
No, and
or we have a hearing.
honestly, I didn't know it was being added, so I can't really subpoena somebody in 4 days, 5 days. You know, it was added on to his motion
Okay.
a week prior.
So what are you requesting regarding this hearing today?
I would like to subpoena the police officer so he can, I know that he put in the report, but there's a lot in that report that is not, it's, if you ask me, perjury. He lied to a police officer. He said we had court. You were going to allow my child to go the following week back to his house for visits. That's not true. That is a lie. And no circumstances have changed to allow him to go there, to allow any of it.
Okay. Mr. Spencer, what is your position, sir?
On the motion or the
Request to adjourn.
request to adjourn it this year.
Yes.
I would like to continue on with it. It's been 5 months already. It's been since November since this has been going on. And this has been affecting my overall work and my health and finances, and also with it just makes it hard for Tanner and I also, and his friend that came up to visit at the same time.
Okay. Do you want to respond to the allegation that the child had parenting time at the place the court prohibited?
Yeah, I will explain that. There was Tanner's friend Michael came up for the weekend with him for his visitation. And while he was up here, we went to the original location of Scott's. Well, Tanner has a four-wheeler and there was snow on the ground. He wanted to ride his four-wheeler and pull the sled around with his buddy. I also had to work that day, so I stopped at the house, which I'm only 3 houses away from where I work, and grabbed the four-wheeler and the sled, and I had to load up all 3 dogs and my son and his friend. And as we're getting the four-wheeler ready at the end of the driveway, my dog got hit. I had to call Sheriff's Department had to call Animal Control had to call me back. I couldn't take my dog into the emergency or whatever. I called Mrs. Kruger to let her know what happened. And I says, all right, we were at Scott's, all the stuff's over there. We came over here to play with the kids. And while we were trying to tie the sled up to the back of Tanner's four-wheeler so they could ride around with it and I could work and they could be in the yard playing, my dog got hit. So what do you want me to do? Would you like to pick up Tanner and his friend? I already called Tanner's friend's parents and they had no problem with him coming to my place in the first place. They said that he can just stay. That's no issue. Nicole says, well, I don't care. It's not part of the order. And I said, well,
What do you mean she doesn't care?
she
Doesn't
don't
care about what?
my dog getting hit and that the fact that I couldn't
Oh,
leave or do anything, but I offered her if she wanted to pick up Tanner because of the court order that she could. Instead, she said she don't care, whatever, hung up on me. And we stayed. And like I said, the parents of the other kid were fine with it. Everybody's fine with it. The next morning,
so you acknowledge violating the court order then?
I had no choice. I was an emergency situation. I absolutely do. Just like last time when she did the court, and I had a court order and then she brought a motion in order. I'm not here to lie or deceit nobody or whatever. I'm just here trying to be a father for my kid. And there's nothing wrong with my place. It's just that we were still staying at the other place, but my dog got hit. There was an emergency. I asked her to come pick Tanner up so there wouldn't be an issue with it. She refused. Instead, she called the state police and the state police showed up the next day instead of right then and there. Because I had the sheriff's department over there. The dog
So you had an overnight then? So you had an overnight with the child at your home?
Yes, I did. Not intentionally. It was just because my dog couldn't. It was like minus 10 degrees out with the what do you call it? And I have 3 dogs. I couldn't even pick her up. She had a fractured rib and she had surgery in that leg with a titanium pin and screw. And there's no emergency vets or no place to take my dog. And I couldn't. That was just
Excuse me just a second. I apologize for interrupting, but why couldn't you have taken the injured dog to another location so to comply with the court order?
Because the location that we just came from, which was at Scott's, is over like an hour away. And to put my dog in it, I got a truck with 2 kids in it with all their clothes and all their stuff. It's minus 10 degrees outside. There's like a foot of snow on the ground, 1.5 feet of snow on the ground. And I have 2 other big dogs. There's no way I could make sure that she was safe in a safe position or place to travel with the dog or move with the dog. That's why I had to call her immediately to let her know. And she came and picked up Tanner and his friend later on.
Any other comment regarding the alleged violations?
I would just like to clarify, I was 10 o'clock in the morning, they were at the camper this morning, that this happened. He was on the toilet going poop when I called him. He'd just woken up. They never went to Scott's. And he never offered for me to come get my child. I have to call the cops and notify the other child's parents that he was there, because if my son's not allowed there, his son shouldn't be allowed there, I wasn't
Well,
aware
that
of
doesn't
it.
apply. It only
No,
applies to the
but-
child in question.
The situation is not, I was not informed I could come get him, or I would have. I allowed parenting time to happen because I don't want to be held in contempt. I would like to follow your rules and just keep doing this to just prove it can't be followed on that behalf. That's it.
Okay. Any other comment regarding that issue, sir? Mr. Spencer?
Just that she's lying, and that she was called and told that she can come get him, so there was no violation of him staying the night at the residence. Like I said, I work right here. This is my neighborhood. I'm actually at one of my places now. Just I have to, eat and stuff like that, and I wasn't intentionally violating his thing. It's like, he's 10 years old. His buddy's 10 years old. They have nothing to do at Scott's. These visits been going on there for the past 4 or 5 months, since November, and this is all put in the motion regarding in my motion that I have for today, that I filed for today, but we haven't discussed that part yet, so.
Right, we haven't. And you're requesting the adjournment relative to the alleged violation, correct?
Unless he confesses to it. and
He already
move
did.
Forward.
He already did.
If he's gonna confess and take ownership, then I don't need the police officer to testify.
Okay. All right. All right, well, based upon the testimony, the court finds that there is a violation because of the fact that the child is not to be there for parenting time. It was clear in the order. The the defendant alleges an emergency regarding a family pet that needed to be taken care of. And frankly speaking, no disrespect, but it could be, whether it's an hour drive to somewhere else where the parenting time is normally held, that should have been done, but it wasn't done. This allegation regarding, well, she could have picked the child up, doesn't fly with the court either way, because it's father's time. And and then father made the comment regarding the amount of snow involved. And if I'm not mistaken, Gaylord's had a high amount of snow this year, record amount of snow.
Record amount.
Yep, and so based upon that, I don't find that reasonable. $100 fine will be imposed. It is due April 11, 2025, payable to the friend of the court. Let's hear your parenting time motion, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, Mrs. Kruger has denied visits, seems to do this every year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, during the holidays. I've had multiple checks and safety needs being met, and I've also been okayed and approved with all needs being met. I have fire extinguishers, smoke, and carbon monoxide detectors. All heat sources used in-house are certified indoor safe through the federal government. I do the store heaters inside for work and other things that I've done, heating, cooling, for the past 10 years. 7 years at CHS out of Ubly, Michigan and Pacific. Leonard Bradley and Nicole Kruger were both behind using the court and other public offices as a tool to threaten, jeopardize, and try to withhold my visits as a vengeful tactic to get at me and in turn hurt our son in the process. This manipulation of the court should be looked at and looked into, and this seems to also happen everywhere I have lived in the past 10 years. I've lived in Bad Axe, Newberry, Harbor Beach, etc. Ms. Kruger is now calling zoning anonymously, and zoning's given me anonymous white woman that called on the situation. She's called my HOA president. December 6th, calling the sheriff to do a wellness check on me for not answering her calls privately through her mother's, Charlene Kruger's, phone instead of using the app close as ordered. Lenny Bradley also has sent text through Andrea Camacho to start this, as well as stating in text immediately after court on Friday the 6th that I should have listened, and it doesn't pay to F with me, you a-hole. This was immediately after the last court date where you suspended my visitation rights based off of Nicole stating that my place wasn't safe. And then this has been the past 5 months that this has continued based on her word that it's not safe. All messages have been forwarded through email to Mitch, including MDHHS, okay for Tanner to continue visits. Ms. Kruger, also on the visit with Michael, Tanner's friend, told Tanner and Michael were talking, and Tanner told Michael in front of me directly, he says that my mom tells me that my dad is no good, and that's why I'm not allowed to come around here. And that was immediately after the phone call conversation that I had called her to see if she could come pick up Tanner, so there wouldn't be an issue with him staying. So she felt okay about it until the court was taken care of. And that's when the police officer came the following day. All I've been doing is trying to just be a father. I didn't know it was,
Mr. Spencer, I have to interrupt for a second. What are you asking for, sir? The parenting time to be reinstated at the trailer, the camping trailer?
at my place, yes.
Well, it's a camping trailer, right?
Well, there's a little more to it than a camping trailer, yes.
Well, I'm assuming it has a hitch on it. You can pull it away if you needed to.
Yes, but there's
We're not Just a second. I'm just trying to understand you. This is not a mobile home, for instance.
well, I've got a 400 square foot add-on with a loft and a living area, which is 10 by 20, which is 200 square foot alone.
Not talking about that. I'm talking about the original, what you claim to be the residence is a travel trailer, correct?
Yes.
How many feet is it? How long is it?
34.
34 feet. Okay. Well, that would definitely be a travel trailer. It's not a fifth wheel, correct?
No, it's a regular tow behind truck, not a fifth wheel.
And this is in a campground?
It's on my private property. I am considered recreational residential agriculture. It's a HOA. And there's multiple people that have campers. You're allowed to you have your campers here. It's one of the only places in our area where you're allowed to have your camper and stay on your property in the area.
So you have a deed to the land?
Yes,
Okay, and you pay taxes on the property?
every year.
Okay. Do you have Ms. Cervini, do you want her to testify?
Miss Savani, yes.
Okay. Is she still there?
Yes.
Want to bring her in?
solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Miss, would you please state your name for the record and spell your last name?
Yep. Andrea Cerveny, Servieny.
And are you employed?
I am.
In what capacity?
I work for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services in Otsego County.
And in what capacity are you?
I work for Children's Protective Services.
CPS worker, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Spencer, go ahead with your questions.
Just basically, could you just give a rundown of the place and how it's okay and safe in aspects of regarding Tanner being okay and out of harm, and just give I get just what you've seen and what you've I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm just I don't know. I can't even talk right now. I'm sorry, sir.
I can kind of explain what how I was involved, I guess, just to get a better understanding.
Go ahead, please.
That's fine.
So this was not my investigation. I was a courtesy worker. I had 2 home visits with Anthony Spencer at his residence. The first being on the 27th of February of last year. So 2/27/24. I was able to view the home. And although I felt it wasn't, ideal, and it's not the best situation, of course, I did not observe any safety hazards that would concern me for a 10-year-old boy. If we were talking about a toddler or a baby or something of that nature, obviously they're going to be into things, but I believe that the age and development of a 10-year-old boy would know not to, go into areas of the house that might not be safe for a baby. My second home visit with Anthony was on March 7th of 24. This home visit was, I guess, I was able to see more of the home. Anthony wasn't super keen on the idea of me doing a full assessment of the home on the 27th. But on the second visit, he did allow me to see the kitchen where also where Tanner sleeps, and basically every area of the home. Once again, I did not see any safety concerns or health concerns. Like I said, it's not ideal. Housing up here is horribly hard, and I did understand that. So I didn't really feel that there was any concerns to be noted.
Any other questions, Mr. Spencer?
Well, there's all the safety measures that need to be in place. How many fire extinguishers did you see that I had for safety purposes? Do you remember?
I don't remember a specific number. I do believe that I did see, or you likely showed me that there was fire extinguishers.
Same with like fire detectors and CO2 carbon monoxide detectors and emergency safety exits, which there's 4 of them in the place that I live in.
Yes, I do recall seeing that.
And it was basically at the time that you seen it was over a year ago, and this was well prior to Mrs. Kruger making the 4th allegation that my camper's not safe or whatever. Just wherever it's at, it's just not a good situation, she says. And I do agree that there's a process.
You have to ask a question, sir.
Okay. Well, basically everything's up to safe. Was it warm in there? Was there running water, hot water, cold water? Ample place to, privacy for him, privacy for me. Did you see all those things?
Yes, I did. I did note in my report that on the 27th of February, the first visit, it was around 60 degrees, which was unusually warm, but I don't think the heater was running, but it was very comfortable in there as far as temperature. The second time I was there back a month later, it was also a comfortable temperature. There was a functional toilet. And there was a water dispenser that I also noted in my report, which had hot and cold water. So yes, I did see his private sleeping areas as well.
And then with the toilet situation at the time, did I make you aware that we have a company called the Purple Pooper Pumper that would come out and relieve my tank, my holding tank, which I also have an extra 300-gallon holding tank that I added on, put into the ground for disposal through that same company. And go ahead.
Sorry, I do believe that you had mentioned that you had a septic company that regularly cares for the tank.
I mean, I don't know what else I need to prove to be a father, so I don't really know where else to go with the questioning on this. I'm just trying to, do the best I can. I know it takes a process, and I know I'm at the bottom end of the process, but my goal is to have a better place, a nicer looking place with better aesthetics.
Okay, well, that's argument, sir. We'll get to that in a bit. I'm sorry, Ms. Kruger, do you have any questions of the survey?
Yes. Ms. Cerveny, were you aware that Mr. Spencer has 6 violations in building and zoning against his property?
That is not part of what I was there to do.
So you were not aware that your county has deemed this place unsafe for him to reside in himself?
Who's objection, Your Honor? Objection, Your Honor. I have not seen anything in any paperwork showing that anything is unsafe by the county or any other jurisdiction. The only thing I've gotten on there was an anonymous tip that was called in multiple times by a white lady that was given to me from the zoning itself. And the only thing on the zoning is that they haven't came in to do a inspection because I never filed for a permit for anything over the size limit that is allowed to be built on the property. Anything over 200 square feet requires a permit on the property. And I have nothing on my property over 200 square feet.
Well, the objection is noted, but it's cross-examination. The question was whether she was aware. And it doesn't sound like she's aware. So the question is
But
proper.
yeah, the thing I just objected to is there's nothing
Mr.
stating
Spencer,
that-
Mr.
nothing
Spencer,
stating-
she's alleging that. It's not offered for the truth of the matter.
All right, I'm sorry.
She asked whether she was aware. That's all the question was. Go on with your next question.
If you were aware of those violations, saying that the property was not structurally sound, would you approve this for my child to visit at?
Don't really have an answer for that.
Okay, so your answer is you're not sure if you would approve my child to go, knowing through your county that his property is not structurally safe. I just want to make sure that's the answer.
I guess it depends on if there was legal documentation with the billing or with the zoning or the health department, I would say that, there would be concerns and we would address what needs to be fixed. Yes.
Okay, well, there is. Your Child Protective Services handbook through the state of Michigan says that space heaters are not prohibited. Why is there an exception for Mr. Spencer's camper?
I'm aware of that policy. I'd have to review that.
Yeah, well, there's a handbook you have to follow. It is in there. Also, do you have proof or documentation of receipts proving that Mr. Spencer pumps his feces out of his tank? Have you
I do.
received proof for any of it? Have you yourself seen any proof besides what he has told you?
My only involvement was simply to go and see the home. I was not the investigator. I did not make any decisions on the case. It was to see the home. So no,
Okay, and I
I did not.
guess my last question is, does Child Protective Services decide what happens to a child and define and push the law? Do you choose what is law? Or do you have someone who goes over you and orders these things? Like a judge or a supervisor, or do you make the choices on your own here on what happens to my son?
I don't make any decisions.
So you can't say yourself that my child can 100% for sure go to this camper, and you cannot say and legally force my child to go here, say it's safe. Like, you have no say, you have no authority, really. You're just here to assist families, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, I guess that's all I have to say. It's not the law.
Ms. Cerveny, I have some questions for you.
Of course.
You said your last visit was March of last year?
It was
March 7th?
March 7th of 2024.
Okay, so you've not seen this place in 2025 at all?
Nope. I don't believe we've had any requests to see his residence since the investigation was closed.
There hasn't been a complaint since Nicole has made the last complaint or the last.
Sorry,
order.
Mr. Spencer. I'm sorry, Mr. Spencer. I'm asking questions of the witness right now.
Right.
You'll have an opportunity to ask more if you wish to once the court is completed. Ms. Schultz, can you help me? When did the court prohibit Mr. Spencer from, or when was the motion filed, if you could help me, regarding the residence.
Mr. Wilbur, if I could get that
Oh,
information.
Mr. Holden, thank you.
That was, there was a hearing that was held on December, Your Honor.
December 24th.
December 20th, 2024 was the hearing. The order entered on January 2nd, 2025, that the court had stated representation would happen at the 3257 residence.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Ms. Cervini, are you aware that the court ordered a prohibition of parenting time at this particular location back on, well, the order was signed January 2nd, 2025.
I was
Are
not
you
aware
aware?
of that. I was not involved whatsoever at that point.
Okay. And your inspections in February and March of last year, you can talk about last year, but you can't talk about at least December 20 moving forward, 24 moving forward, correct?
I'm only able to really say what I did, and which was on the 27th and this last year, yes.
Fair enough, fair enough. And are you assigned to Otsego County?
I am.
All right. And can you describe to the court the snowfall that was had in Otsego County this past winter?
I can say that there's been a lot. I can't tell you exactly how much. I can tell you
I'm not
that
asking how much, but would you agree there was a lot of snow?
there was a lot of snow, yes.
Was it really cold as well?
It was cold, yes.
Okay. So you can't say from January 2nd, 2024 up until today whether that camper is fit, correct?
Correct.
And regarding the water, we heard about the sewer, but the water, do you know whether the water, it comes from a well? Does it come from a water line from a municipality? Or is it from a tank on the trailer? If you know.
I believe at that time he was using like bottles, like the large jugs of water, and had a dispenser.
So that would be the water that if you wanted to take a shower, you'd have, that's the water that would be used?
I believe at that
we
time
have a
he was,
shower house.
Mr.
We have a
Spencer, Mr. Spencer, just a moment. I'm asking the witness.
in my report, I believe, sorry, I'm just kind of looking through here. I believe what he had told me is that he uses the Airbnbs around the location that he manages, and other showers available to him, such as the public gym and other means as well to take a shower, I think is what I had reported, or I had documented.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Mr. Spencer, any more questions of your witness?
No, I really don't have no other questions of it, just that it was warm, insulated, food was there, all the needs that were necessary for my son are there. And she's the one that needed to verify it, along with, there's 2 state officers in Nicole Kruger's report that she just talked about in court here. They also stated from both those police officers that it was safe and livable. And I've had another officer that showed up too, a county sheriff, that also asked me to do some work for him because he liked the work that I did.
Okay. All right, the court's heard enough on this motion. Ms. Cervini, you are excused. Thank you for attending. Apologize for the delay in getting your call, but we're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this is a motion regarding modifying the parenting time order as it pertains to the minor child. The court had ordered on this at a hearing on December 20, 2024, prohibiting a prohibition, that is, of the child living in a camper. And that order was entered on January 2nd, 2025. The motion today filed by Mr. Spencer is asking that parenting time at the residence be reinstated because the home is fit. And the evidence that has been presented to the court, according to the witness, Ms. Cerveny, is that she conducted 2 visits, February 27, 2024 and March 7, 2024, well prior to the December 20th hearing. We have nothing recent to address the issue. Anything after January 2nd, 2025 would be appropriate for the court to consider. As a result of that, the request is denied. Parenting time provision still remains in effect. And toward that extent, prior orders otherwise will remain in effect as well.
And what?
Oh, I'm
what's the-
also going to work one thing as well, and I'm going to make this crystal clear now. Moving forward, any future hearings amongst these parties or between these parties, both parties must appear in the courtroom. That's the only best way to handle these cases moving forward. So any motions, any hearings, witnesses can appear via Zoom if that's worked out. But anything regarding the parties, both parties must attend in the courtroom at the time.
What about the regards of Miss Kruger alienating and telling my son the things that I've mentioned in my motion here?
At this time, you can file, if you wish to file a supplemental motion to that extent, you can. I don't find a change in circumstance or proper cause. That'll be all. Thank you.
So I have nothing else to say. I can't say nothing.
You can file a motion if you wish to, sir.
I just did file the motion. I thought we were gonna mention it on talk all about it today. It was all mentioned right in here.
I asked
all
if
in
there's anything else. The court addressed it.